I've been a MacBook Pro user for more than a decade. My very first Mac was the 13-inch MacBook Pro from 2011, and over the years it's been my go-to machine for both work and play. But in 2024, things changed. My trusty 2021 14-inch M4 MacBook Pro began to feel heavy, and with battery life lasting just around 4 hours, it started to limit my workflow. For travel and mobility, I've relied on MacBook Airs as secondary devices, starting with the M1, then the M2, but neither lived up to performance expectations. Then came the M4 MacBook Air, which finally offered enough power to make me question my need for a MacBook Pro. Now, after using the M4 MacBook Air for over a month, I can confidently say this machine is dangerously close to perfect. A new chapter for the MacBook Air. The M4 MacBook Air isn't just another spec bump. It's a substantial refinement of an already popular product line. The changes here might look minor on the surface, but in practice, they dramatically shift the MacBook Air from a light-use laptop into a legitimate pro-level machine for most users. Apple's design philosophy matured with the M2 Air when the wedge was dropped in favor of a flatter chassis. Initially, I was skeptical. The wedge was a part of the Air's DNA. But after using this new symmetrical design across the M2, M3, and now M4 generations, I've come to love its uniform profile. It's thin everywhere, not just at the front, and it feels great on any desk or lap. The M4 Air also introduces a new sky blue color. At first glance, it can be mistaken for silver, but put it side by side with a traditional silver Mac and the blue tones start to shine through. It's subtle, classy, and fresh. That said, I still prefer Midnight, which continues to be my personal favorite. M4 performance, small chip, big results. Apple's silicon continues to impress. The M3 Air already surpassed my M1 MacBook Pro in CPU tasks. The M4 builds on that and delivers even greater performance in both single and multi-core tasks. In day-to-day use, everything feels instantaneous. Apps open in a flash, files render faster, and even web browsing feels zippier. In real-world benchmarks, the gains are noticeable. The M4 MacBook Air 16GB version achieved 775 points in Cinebench multi-core, while the 32GB variant scored 812. For context, my M1 Mac's 14-inch MacBook Pro scored 719. That means the M4 chip in a fanless chassis outperforms my older Pro in sustained tasks. While GPU improvements are more modest, 7 to 22% over the M3 depending on RAM, CPU gains are impressive and translate into smoother workflows across the board. Even when running heavier software like Gigapixel AI, the M4 holds up well. Upscaling images took nearly 10% less time compared to the M3, and in gaming scenarios like Civilization 7, frame rates improved by 20%. Web browsing, an often overlooked benchmark, was nearly 67% faster compared to the M1 Macs, thanks to dramatically improved single-core scores. Memory matters. 32GB of RAM on a MacBook Air. This year marks the first time Apple lets users configure the MacBook Air with up to 32GB of unified memory. It's a game changer for creatives and power users. On my 32GB model, I could keep dozens of Safari tabs open, edit high-res images in Photoshop, and run background AI apps, all without a hitch. With my previous 24GB M3 Air, I'd often feel the memory ceiling when multitasking heavily. Not anymore. The additional RAM also impacts gaming and rendering, where the increased virtual memory pool enhances sustained performance. So, if you're someone who toggles between dozens of apps or tabs or works on large media files, this upgrade is not just helpful, it's essential. Dual monitor support, finally done right. Another big win is proper external display support. While the M3 Air introduced dual monitor compatibility, it came with a catch. You had to close the laptop lid. That was a major step back for users moving from the Pro line. With the M4 MacBook Air, that restriction is finally gone. You can now run 2 external monitors and an internal display all at once. For someone like me who uses multiple screens for editing, research, and communication simultaneously, this upgrade means I can once again enjoy a triple display setup without compromise. Battery life, lightweight but long-lasting. Apple's battery estimates always lean toward video playback, but in my real-world usage, mostly writing, research, and light media editing, I've been consistently getting around 12 to 14 hours of battery life. That's with screen brightness at about 75% and multiple apps running in tandem. It's not just long-lasting, it's reliable. And that consistency is something you don't realize you need until you have it. What makes the battery even more impressive is that it powers this much performance without fans. But that also brings me to one of the Air's only real limitations. Thermal limitations, still fanless. As great as the M4 MacBook Air is, its fanless design means it can't maintain peak performance indefinitely under sustained heavy loads. You'll notice thermal throttling kick in after a few minutes of continuous rendering or gaming. The frame rate will dip to preserve thermal headroom, and processing speeds will slightly scale down. This is where the MacBook Pro still holds a performance edge for professionals who routinely perform intensive tasks. If that sounds like your workflow, 4K editing, 3D rendering, gaming marathons, you'll want to consider the M4 MacBook Pro instead. But for nearly everyone else, the M4 MacBook Air will feel just as fast most of the time. What's still missing? Despite all the advancements, the M4 MacBook Air still has no Face ID. While Apple's Touch ID is fine, facial recognition feels like a natural next step, especially with such thin bezels and AI-focused chipsets. Also, it would be great to see a few more ports. 2 USB-C ports, while clean and minimal, can be limiting for users who often need to connect accessories, storage devices, and displays simultaneously. MagSafe charging helps a bit, but a 3rd Thunderbolt port could make a big difference. Final thoughts, should you buy it? After 1.5 months of daily use, I can confidently say this: the M4 MacBook Air is the best MacBook for almost everyone. It takes everything the M3 Air did well and improves upon it. The performance rivals and even surpasses older MacBook Pro models. The new RAM ceiling enhances multitasking. Dual monitor support is finally implemented the right way, and the battery life is outstanding. All of this comes in a light, beautifully designed machine. Unless you need sustained performance for long, resource-heavy tasks, the M4 Air is a better purchase than the MacBook Pro for hundreds less. Whether you're a student, content creator, developer, or working professional, this laptop strikes the perfect balance between power, portability, and price. The MacBook Air has always been about compromise, weight versus power, thinness versus capability. But with the M4 generation, Apple seems to have finally nailed the formula. No gimmicks, no flashy features, just a solid, incredibly powerful laptop that delivers where it counts. If you've been waiting to upgrade, the wait is over. The M4 MacBook Air isn't just worth it, it's the one to beat.